ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The Bahamas Football Association is expecting big things in 2015, and it all starts with a new technical director.
We had a Bahamian technical director for the last few years, and it didn't work to the extent that we thought it should work. But the gentleman that FIFA has seconded to us, because it's FIFA's position, they pay him. He's eminently qualified. He's an Irish gentleman who teaches the highest qualification course in Europe, the UEFA licenses. So certainly from an education technical standpoint, we will be well served here, and his purpose is certainly to, we will have somebody understudy him, so that the idea is that when he leaves us at the end of his contract, that we have a Bahamian who has been qualified and who is familiar with the program to take it to the next level.
International boxing champion Torino Johnson was in the gallery of the House of Assembly this morning, being honored for his victory last week at Madison Square Garden in New York. Sports Minister Dr. Daniel Johnson was at the fight, and he called it another defining moment in Bahamian sports history.
The Bahamian flag adorned the ring in Madison Square Gardens, New York City. Friday night fights, 20,000 spectators present, sold-out event. Millions of viewers watching on Fox 1, they were not disappointed. And only 10 Bahamians in Madison Square Gardens, and about 10,000 Colombians. And we was making more noise than them. The fight begins, and he's going up against a young man who was a brilliant boxer, top 5 rating, same record, 17-1, taller, very lean, extremely experienced. And the fight begins, and this young man from Pinewood Gardens, fighting in Madison Square Gardens, goes at this fella and hit him so hard in his side, I had to jump up and take off my jacket. I've never seen such body punches. And Toriano unleashed a series of punches on this fella in the first round. Wham to the body and one up to the head. He knocked him down twice before the 5th round was over. And in the 6th round, the fella comes out of his corner and says, no mas. Said his leg was hurting. And he couldn't fight anymore. So I said, well, what about your face?
The Bahamas definitely has a rich history in the sport of boxing, and Minister Johnson says Torino's win on Friday night was like deja vu.
60 years ago, in that same arena, when a young Bahamian called William Butler, we now know him as Yama Bahama. 60 years ago, Yama Bahama fought in those hallowed halls of Madison Square Gardens on a Friday night, fought for the Bahamas and won. 40 years ago, 1975, Paris, France, a young Bahamian by the name of Everett Ferguson, the great Elijah Obed, put everything on the line, fought for the Bahamas, and won.
Now, as you just saw, Elijah Obed was also recognized in the House of Assembly this morning for the role he played in putting the Bahamas on the world boxing map. And Torino Johnson himself understands the struggle Obed has gone through to get the true credit he deserves.
For the likes of Elijah Obed, one of the world's greatest fighters, world champion, the Bahamas' very first professional boxing world champion, I pray to y'all that I don't fall in the steps that Elijah Obed had. As far as him obtaining a world title, yes, indeed, I see that happening. That is very likely. In fact, I'm more than certain that's going to happen. Yes. But for the respect and the knowledge that we have on Elijah Obed, I don't want y'all to forget me the way you all have forgotten the man who had set the pace for me right now, who had set the pace for the young man who come even behind me.
The awards presentation for the King Eric Gibson All-for-One Regatta took place last night at Bahama Grill. Organizers dubbed the event a smashing success, and for the family of the late King Eric, this was truly a fitting tribute.
I've worked along with Daddy for years now, helping him to raise funds, going to regattas with him, but never knew how complicated organizing these types of events are. And I say hats off to him, because when I look at what we went through this past 2 months, just organizing this event, I could just imagine what he went through over all these years, assisting to organize regattas throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas.
Without a doubt, King Eric's impact on the local sloop sailing community was tremendous, and with that in mind, officials have even more drive now to make sure the legacy he strived for lives on. We get that story tonight from Kelsey Johnson.
In an attempt to make regatta the national sport of the country, Minister Alfred Gray plans to create more opportunities by opening up avenues for young Bahamians to learn the craft of boat building.
My ministry will begin to ensure that regattas are taught in the schools, from the primary school to the high school, and hopefully even in the College of the Bahamas, because this is a national sport. And I think people ought to know what the dynamics of regattas are, because some people will see a boat sail, but you ask them to point out the jib of the boat, most of them will probably point out the stern. If you ask them to find the bow, they probably think that's the sail.
Gray, who has responsibility for regatta in the country, also encouraged persons to become more knowledgeable about the history behind the sport. He said legendary skippers and boat owners like King Eric Gibson, Hezron Moxie, and Captain Raleigh Gray have made significant contributions to regatta, which should never be forgotten.
Certainly every island during their regatta time could honor a legend who came from among its people, and that would be encouraged and supported by my ministry.
The support shown during the King Eric Gibson All-for-One Regatta by Bahamian sailors, boat owners, and regatta fans was overwhelming. Close friend of the late King Eric Gibson, Craig Flowers, wants to see it continue.
This event, it should be tried to be better every year, and it sets a standard for all of us that we need to look at and to say how much are we really contributing back to all of the good things that regatta would have given to us.
Kelsey Johnson, ZNS Total Sports.
The Freedom Farm Baseball League will open up its 26th season this coming Saturday, and this year's theme is Play Positive.
Play positive, in my mind, is speaking positive things to the players, to the kids, from the coaches, from the parents. Everything we do, we will think, we will speak, and we will play positive. The whole program this year, and every coach, they recite a play positive message before and after every practice. And like I've said on numerous occasions, we have to build pride, and we have to build some self-respect, and we have to continue to teach positive stuff so that people can have respect for themselves and each other. And that's the team that Freedom Farm is playing under this year.
And that will do it for sports. Stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight comes back after the break.
This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.